What's up guys, Canon just announced again a development update number 2 for the Canon R3. As usual, there's a little bit more on the Japanese website, which we will go to later. So before going to the development update 2, we're gonna recap very fast what was in the development update 1. And that's actually a good question. Do you prefer the old Canon where they would develop and keep that as a secret and then publish and make an announcement and say, hey, you can buy this camera next week? Or do you prefer the new Canon, which make development update way in front and way before the official announcement where you can buy the camera? These are two different strategies of marketing. So go below to comment on that. So what we already knew? Well, this is a backside illuminated stack sensor. Full frame, there's the Digic X processor in it, just like the R5, R6 and 1DX Mark III. FPS, 30 frames per second in electronic shutter mode with autofocus or eye tracking. Obviously the amazing dual pixel autofocus. They will also have the technology where you can look with your eye and it's gonna focus where you're looking at. Interesting. The weatherproof will be equivalent to the 1DX Mark III, so this is a very rugged body. There's going to be a vertical grip integrated where actually the battery will go, and there's some network capabilities, wireless and wired, with an additional cable that you bought or something like that. We don't have the details yet on that. So what's up with this new update? Let's go into the details. Actually, let's go on the details on the computer. So here you have the official Canon R3, blah blah blah. This is the same video than last time. Same thing with the stack sensor. You have the 30 FPS of course, but the speed light shooting will be possible with the R3 electronic shutter active. So I'm wondering, that was not possible before? That's a little bit weird. Autofocus, there's a new thing there. You're gonna be able to track, of course, the eye, animals, and everything that was there before, but it added cars and motorcycle. That's gonna be very interesting, especially if you are on the field working with motorcycles, and these motorcycles can go quite fast. So we already know about the rock body, but now they added a detail which battery is gonna go inside. Power will be delivered by the same Canon LPE19 battery pack that powers the EOS 1DX Mark III. How about low light performance? Well, you're gonna be able to shoot in the darkness of about EV-7. So just to compare, the R5 is actually rated EV-6 and the R6 is rated EV-6.5 in the exactly same conditions because they use the same standard to measure their thing with their own company. Just like the R5 and the R6, you're gonna have up to 8 stops of stabilization with the sensor and combined with the lens. What about video? Well, the details are scarce, we don't have anything, but it will have C-Log 3 right from the start instead of waiting for firmware. You're gonna have oversample 4K, so the sensor will be more than 12 megapixel. Okay, great. And you're gonna be able to do internal RAW recording. All of that while tracking, autofocusing, or eye tracking. With the animals and the motorsports, of course. What about the network? And here's a place where Japan has a little bit more details. But we're gonna go with the US side first. You have wired LAN with a special cable that's still there, and a 5 GHz Wi-Fi signal, which is the right 11 AC equivalent, which is the 102.11 AC 2013 specifications. And that's gonna give you roughly about 500 megabits per second of data transfer. You should be fine. It's a good standard. And last time on the Japan website about the mobile file transfer, you would click learn more and that would not work. It would just loop back. Now you can actually click and get more details. So here is the official mobile file transfer app that is not out yet. So scheduled to be released in late June 2021. You're gonna be able to transfer file with FTP, SFTP, which is secure FTP, and SFTP. Basically it's a SSH protocol. If you don't know, just ask the person who wants the pictures in a live fashion. He's gonna tell you which parameter to put in that. We have the compatible models also that will be available with this app, which is the R6, R5, R3 obviously, and 1DX Mark III. Oh, and also the 1DX Mark II. Yeah, but with the 1DX Mark II, you're gonna have to buy an additional component for the Wi-Fi. And here's the caveat. It only supports EOS 14 and probably more, So there's nothing for Android for now, and nothing for an iPad also. It's not working on iPad. Back to the US side. Here's the back. A great picture of the back with the design to deliver text, which we're gonna go to. But this picture is so low quality and low pixel. Canon, what are you doing? If we go to the Japanese website, you have this awesome, huge picture, high quality, high resolution picture. And once we bump it up a little bit and extract it from the website, you get this, way more details. Thank you, Japan. So how about that back? We can see that there is a flip screen. Yes, and that flip screen is touch enabled, and there's of course all the menus that Canon have. Awesome menus. And there's also a new accessory shoe that will deliver power and data compared to the old shoes. And I think they're gonna put a few accessories that are going to be able to compete with Sony, and there's another company also who has that kind of shoe. So you'll probably be able to put a shoe or let's say an input for mics or XLR mics or something like that in the future. We'll see, but that's very promising. Also on the Japanese website, they said compatible with both CF Express card and SD card. Now I don't know if the translation is 100% correct. Is it one CF and one SD? Or you can choose? That's the question. So let's go back on that high-res picture of the back. We can see obviously the recording button, usual buttons. There's the LAN light, which will tell you if you transfer on it. It's going to probably to blink when you're transferring files. They also wrote in the documentation that you would have 3 control, which are obviously top spinning wheel on both directions. Obviously you have the center wheel, and of course at the front you have the trigger. And there's also that new button, which I can't recall the name, but will detect your hand. And you also have the old style of trigger that you can go left and right and everything. I don't know if this is too much or not, because you have the new and the old models. That's going to be very interesting to play with. And are those two are doing exactly the same thing? Is it to make people go slowly with the newer thing? Good question. Good question. You can see the LCD flip. This is very clear from this picture. And there's a little lid, so you can put your finger in it and flip it out. There's also a couple of new buttons, which I don't know what they're used for. That's probably here the connector for PC port sync or something like that. And we kind of have a picture of the side. It's missing a few details even if we zoom in, but yeah, I can see 4 different lids that you're gonna remove the rubber and connect audio, HDMI and stuff like that. You just can't see which one does what because they're not open. So that's it for this announcement. Subscribe for more, and if you like that type of research where I go on different websites, US version, Japanese version, and get all the info, well, hit a like. Thanks, and see you in the next video.